Let me share with you the band story. I found the company in 1978, and we were real an advocate for open systems already from the beginning. Decided to do all our development in Unix. We operate from headquarters in the Netherlands. And quite soon, quite early in 1987, we decided already to go for outsourcing to India. But I found that outsourcing was not the most ideal situation. I prefer their real and active captive investments. In India, we started our own company already in 1989 in Bombay, Mumbai, SEEPS in 1989. And quite a few years later, we decided to take our campus in Hyderabad and build quite a big campus from August 1995 in Hyderabad, where we had already 200 developers, and we are busy real with our real bound for products. Realize that doing captive outsourcing in India, that means you respect all your say colleagues there, and we incorporate them in everything. That means we contribute all our technology real to India. That means those days our famous band shell in the early 80s, we built our band shell. In 1989, the band shell was the foundation for our little band 4 product. And in the shell, we were able to decouple all those elements, like, say, logic from data, from operating systems, etc., open to every platform. We built all our managers, and especially with our famous dolls, the data access layer was unique in band, a big differentiator, I think, with also competitors like an SAP, etc. And with these dull layers, we are able to decouple our data from the logic, from the database, from the operating system, etc. Again, the dull elements are still repeated by us, what we do today in our rapid development. We really use it again and again. That allows us to build advanced logic solutions, decouple them, and our say ERP system was still organized with decoupled components like the master working scheduling with real management information, material requirements planning, capacity requirements planning, decoupled from your item file, your bill of material, your stock control, your routing, and again decoupled from your logistic components in purchasing and in sales, and with real group technology, technical service, etc. And then even decoupled with project control, where you have your real, say, your generic manufacturing components. Any project you can call, you're going more to your real product-driven environments to make it even simpler with shop floor control, etc. And here we had our famous DEM solution where we're able to configure our applications. Dynamic enterprise modeling was also a famous element those days. Good. In Baan, I mentioned already in Hyderabad, in the already end of the 90s, we had a beautiful campus, a very advanced team with my good friend Ramanathan in the driver's seat. Ramanathan, my general manager, is even today involved with what I'm doing with all my activities. And I am real thankful to Ramanathan, who built this team and real adopted even the band culture. Real professional guys with already 3 PhDs, Dr. Rastogi, we saw here Dr. Ram, Dr. Lamba, and all those people today are playing crucial roles in IT companies, not only over India, but worldwide. Agalia, already one of the early managers in the company, is still crucial today still in our activities in Coimbatore, what we do today. Okay, even the campus was built by our own. The campus was financed private. I decided to do it from my private standpoint to support all those activities in it, and it was a very attractive campus for a couple of thousand employees. You see it here, the band campus, etc. Where we contributing not only the IP element, but where people today are talking over the famous band culture. And what was the band culture was our 3 I's. That means we took the customer in the core, and we say we were able to their innovation, the three I's, take care that you have intelligent people and make them real innovative. The other one, what we say, okay, if you have innovative people, very important is that people are able to take decisions, and we say able to take initiatives. That means their innovation, share initiatives, and care integrity. And our crucial element always was better to ask for forgiveness than for permission. And this model was extremely crucial in the culture of Baan, building innovative elements therein. And we were able to build our famous products, like in 1995, our Baan product uh, process for hybrid production variants with our business planning, our product innovation, our master planning. You see here the requirements planning, decoupled from purchase and sales, with final assembly, production control, and then all those warehouse components focus on the customer or the decoupling point where we could have every element of production control. I will come back to it. Means link them to suppliers and to customers and to a financial solution. And even we came with a unique element invented together with the late professor there in Hans Wortmann from their Eindhoven University. He was very crucial with our R&D departments where we built our customer or decouple point. Hans later on became a board member of Baan. And there we were able to build every form of manufacturing from engineer to order with your decouple point, generic part and a specific part to make to order, where the focus was more on project control, and then moving to assemble to order, where you focus on a product configurator, and going to make to stock with your material requirements planning, or even your repetitive and process-oriented application. Now, again, it was unique in one generic product, building all those functionalities therein. Again, we were able to win the most precious deal in the 90s. It was the Boeing deal. 1995, we were able to win this deal with competition of Oracle and SAP. And it was nice to see that we became the winner. And why was it that we are the winner? It's not only what I mentioned before, the functionality, the rich functionality in our EP solution, but also the methodologies therein. Quite early, we had in our Baan Institute with creating boundary spanners. It means we created real smart people, and what we did is aligning business and IT with a focus on these boundary spanners. And those employees, we trained them before we were up them in a mini MBA course for a couple of months, and learned them to speak the ERP language. And the school became very successful. In 1997, we had already 270 graduates. Hans Wortmann was there, one of the leading professors, implementing this one therein. And from this real school, BBS, we even built what we call the methodology to implement. We called it orgware target, or we had only a customer order decouple point, but we had also what we called a business implementation decouple point. To have to every business implementation step make a decoupling point. To have the area of selection, realization, and optimization. In selection, your potential partnership, agree solution, and even contractual arguments for the resolution. Then for the realization, the validation, the matching, and the migration with system operation elements, and then we move to the optimization for the operation review, control review, and strategy. And here we found what we called our famous dynamic enterprise methodology. And there we are able to say configure different company models, and we could use those models in different kinds of industries in a real specific way. Our reconfiguration by process, that means we had our business process redesign, and we're able to link our business process design with every screen. That was a big also support for all our alliances with our integration partners. And it means we were able to take all the screens and with like a bill of material, link them together in one enterprise model, and from our library, configure them and assembling them. Now, with our business process re-engineering for continuous business improvement. I think those components with the methodology, the people, learning them to do aligning business and IT, winning the Boeing deal was very crucial for us. That propels Baan in 1994, winning this deal to an IPO in 1995. Okay. In 1998, Eric Keller from Gartner mentioned what called in the Gartner's Magic Quadrant, the ERP leaders. There are four leaders, even you see them today, with SAP, with Baan Company, with Oracle, and with PeopleSoft. They were what they call mentioned as the leaders therein. And Gartner mentioned us as the most innovative company. Maybe Oracle, SAP, the biggest one, and we the most innovative one. And why was it? I believe with all our methodologies. Even we had our famous implementation Baan book, where all those elements were productized. And it reduced tremendous the cost of implementation. We productized in our intellectual property all those methodologies and we're able to drive them in a very, very effective way. And I think that have bring us as a leader in end of last century. And ERP, the name was found by Lee Wiley. Lee Wiley, a manufacturing expert from General Motors, moved to IBM and later on became the CIO of Gartner. He innovated this name ERP. And last year I had a nice letter from him. We say, Jan, it was May 8, 2023. Congratulations. Time flies. It has been 33 years since I delivered a speech at Gartner integrating this manufacturing conference to create this ERP framework. Before we had what we call this MRP2, MRP1, Material Requirements Planning, Manufacturing Resource Planning. And yeah, that was a big change where Gartner adopted this ERP stuff to propel the ERP world. Now, he was mentioning, and it's a nice compliment what I still say, from all these ERP software executives who were participating herein, what I met with before coining ERP, you were the only one with a clear vision in the future because I quit from it and moved further. And even you mentioned, and here in 2023, you're still providing a vision of the future of complex business systems. And let me bring you there for a while. Means I saw that ERP became more or less the mother of all complexity, and how to bring ERP to the whole enterprise. And in reality, maybe the name is not explaining reality. ERP, enterprise resource planning, in my opinion, it never became enterprise, not more than an entity. In an enterprise, you need end-to-end business processes, and ERP never came to that level therein. Yeah. What we see today, even IDC recently came with worldwide SaaS players in large enterprise ERP applications. It means still ERP exists. No. And you see the same name because Baan later on was acquired by Infor, and you see, say, with Workday, where Workday even sold Salesforce to Oracle and start again. Now, more or less see the same names herein, bringing new technology and have a lot of strengths, bringing now the traditional ERP to the cloud. But there are still also a lot of challenges. In my opinion, you see that ERP is still a legacy transactional system who is built in last century and not really built for the cloud. And then you see a lot of challenges. But people saying even with Infor becoming a leader, and IDC mentioned, you see the challenges is in UI navigation. Responsibility is more thoughtful that the UI is the navigation, reduce the number of clicks. How can you make it more effective and bring information faster? That means it is too complicated if you look to the UI from the complex logic. And in the logic, you go more to the process, and from the process, you have to go more, what we say, the job to be done, to the task, helping the knowledge worker to improve the UI, the UX in the task, moving toward intuitive areas and complete the task faster. Now, that is what we I think, bring in a real microservices on top of ERP. In late 2003, Infor introduced their also portal and do some workspace elements, but I think that we can also doing a lot of elements with microservice and bring that there together. Now, current performance is even a problem therein, and that means if you see the core element, what you can do in a real infrastructure as a service like Google, etc., you can have tremendous performance with AI stuff, etc. Good. Still, ERP is there. And what were the problems with traditional ERP? I mentioned already ERP, the mother of all complexity. And we found in end of last century that ERP is complex and you have to do it with methodologies. And real consultants came with business process reengineering. But business process reengineering around ERP, they used more what we say the bespoke solution of ERP from an as it is point to bring it to the to-be environment, like McKinsey's, like Boston Consulting, with architects, but even say the strategy consultants became still important, and they started with an RFP. What is in the market today, and how can we bring ERP to next to the to-be solution and translate business into IT and see the big benefit of business process reengineering if you bring all those processes together. But it was more complicated than we expected. Now, doing this, you start, and people hope maybe with an RFP, most people hope that it's coming in Waldorf because you make a lot of money with SAP. And you started with SAP with 60,000 database tables. They're all united around a common database. And then you start also the traditional customization by system integrators. Now, but before doing this one, you have to install it. And before installing it, you need more or less 120,000 parameters from the vanilla version to make it a little specific for your customer needs. That means it is not that easy to start because everything is built in a real generic environment, and then the implementation can start, and then you start with your bespoke because the vanilla version is not good enough for the to-be situation, and you start with the bespoke version, but realize that is the most dangerous part. From that moment, you're killing the flexibility of the generic logic part from that moment. You are no longer able to implement the new version and continue therein. Now, and even it takes longer than you expected because the cost to buy ERP were okay, still not that extreme, but the most of the costs are in the first implementation and in the customization. That means you pay not that much maybe to SAP in this case, but you pay the most money to the SAP partners to make it ready. And the agility is going down and the money is going up. It takes longer than you expected. Maybe you expect it in 1 year, and the end is maybe 5 years, but don't ask the cost therein. Now we see a big change, even with these elements like Infor, etc. Other players are becoming more leading. They were able to rebuild these ERP solutions, although it's too much built with the old logic source code, but made it available to cloud native solutions. And it means now you're able to implement, maybe to bring every 3 months, 4 months, a new version, decouple the customization from it, but it's still not so easy, again, to continue that. Now, what are the hidden costs of customizations? Now, we learned it's time consuming. You need a real, the skills and requirements of specialists are not easy. And often the business has to work and where the ERP system dictates the business. And ideally, you like to do the opposite way therein. Now, many changes that business managers want to make do not impact ERP, but have to work with even time scales, etc. And ideally, the business needs to do what they like to do. It's real difficult, and on the end, it's becoming monsters. And this type of monsters today are maybe no longer able to even to park the car in Amsterdam and say, bring it outside. We don't like longer these monsters. We like more maybe their electrical cars, etc. Now, we came to the conclusion last century there is value in ERP, but sunset it. and sunset it, take only the engine and sunset the engine. Leave ERP to do what's good at. That means ERP is not a place to innovate or different your business. Your business had processes, span many business units, systems, countries, data, etc. And if you need some things to evolve, ERP is not a place to do this. And big customers often customize options, have specific needs, etc., and to have a better ROI therein. That means, yes, there are interesting elements in ERP what you can use, but decouple it, sunset it, and optimize it in another way. Now, there we came in the beginning of this century, when I built Cordis with what we called with BPM, I say, okay, let ERP stay where it is. You take your customer engagement, your business transaction, take your transactional system, let it stay, and reduce the implementation cost with the BPM process. And where you have still this beautiful, slimline, end-to-end processes in your modeling, where you can follow everything is what you model is what you get. That means in this area, you focus no longer on the EP part, you integrate it with different EP solutions, and everything is now became browser-based with a modern user interface. And your rules are decoupled from your logic. Here, everything is stored in concrete. You can change 1 minute before the transaction, before you process, you can change your business rules, so are flexible. You do it with service-oriented architectural elements, with a cloud and everything, with a SOA grid, and even with an enterprise service bus. And even here, your activity monitoring is even optimized in your whole enterprise. Was high promising with process mapping, but more complicated than we expected. Now, and that's what we did. We built, beginning of the 90s, from scratch, business process driven elements. That means cloud driven with application services and data in a smart grid with real, what we say, integration. That means you see your enterprise service buses in a grid. That means your service-oriented architecture allows you to have the integration layer. And on top of the integration layer, you have your BPM layer. You do your business processes decoupled together. And on top of that, what you have your composing layer, what we call platform as a service, the composing elements. And on the same moment, we are able to, even with a collaborative workspace, to handle transactional driven solutions from a data standpoint, but also case-driven solutions. Let me explain that a little. And in a business operations platform. And later on top of this one, we built already no-code solutions with our Cordis Process Factory for cloud and cloud provisioning and operating intelligence already, what we did on top of it. Single platform for cloud and on-premise, integrating this real, what we say, distinct technology domains, single cloud, and also with state-of-the-art integrated BPM for what I mentioned already, say BPM integrated and also human-centric and integration-centric and case-centric workflow. Now, what was then BPM? All services in this business process management suite. First, with this grid, you integrate all those ERP, PLM, etc. Solutions with the enterprise service bus, business service, and your master data management. On top, in the service-oriented architecture, we built our business process suite, where you have your business process management and your case management, your rule management, your business activity monitoring, and then you see your composing part, where you do your composing applications, UI, your task management, and your business operating platform, what we call. And then, I mentioned already, we built the Cordis Process Factory for low-code platforms with mashups to build a smart, what we see today, microservices. Now, again, realize that ERP is transactional driven. That means if we talk from ERP to business process, we see only the enterprise from a transactional enterprise standpoint. And then you see your business integration and your business process management integrating centric. But you see at the other end, the case-driven element where your documents are more human-driven. And you bring them later in your spreadsheet, and you have your workflow and your business process management. Now, those two streams were not able to collaborate together. And that's what we did. We built a collaborative workspace to have a solution where there's different streams where we can put go more downstream in the organization, having all this data together. And in Chorus, we built basically one stack, we're unique, one platform. If you compete it with TIPCO, they did it in an M&A way. That means they built a case-driven approach with software as an M&A's acquired company and their own stuff, and they merged it a little, but then you have a real complex solutions. They are more M&A offering, but not real one stack. Our strength was always with one stack, and most of the BPM layers had a very niche player doing very niche elements. Here we built applications in different areas. We were quite successful worldwide, but it was really quite complicated doing this one. Took long what we expected, and then even the architects, analysts mentioning already in 2011 that IDC mentioned even Chorus were a leader in the what they called the integrated BPM part. They ranked Oracle high, IBM with WebSphere, Pega, we saw TIPCO, OpenText, etc. We did an OEM with Fujitsu. And on the other hand, you have what we called also for mentioned here a little, you have the PaaS layers, platform as a service, and we have here seen in the cloud Salesforce as a leader and Microsoft. Now, unique with us, even with the Process Factory, we were unique, do not only the BPM layer, but also the platform as a service layer. And we were also a leader here and that is where the analysts ranked us quite high in this area and a few others. Now, we came to the conclusion after 2013 that it took longer than we expected, and Chorus was acquired by OpenText. And why OpenText? Because OpenText here was quite looking to what we did here with Chorus as a leader, and they acquired us to have a stronger place herein. Now, that allows us to focus again on our core activities. Now, what was even the problem with what we called with BPM, we called it the digital entrepreneur. Michael Porter came as one of the famous Harvard professors with operational excellence. And he mentioned already that if you can build the digital entrepreneur and build all processes end to end, then then your ROI will increase 5 times with much better effective IT spending. With doing your processes end to end. That is what Michael Porter mentioned. It was still, it became possible by the consumerization of this backend, but it was not easy. And even Michael, what we see here in Peter Drucker already in 1999, he came to the conclusion more than even the digital enterprise, it's more the job to be done. What is my job to be done, my task? And he came to the conclusion, if we are able to offer our knowledge workers, the new technology that all these mobility elements could be in hand of the knowledge workers, that they do their task, then they can even do their task twice better. And the productivity of the knowledge worker can be doubled. And that is, they have the autonomy and all the responsibility is in the hand of the knowledge workers. Instead of the front end, we go to the back end. We go downstream. Instead of the ERP is in the driver's seat, we see then that the workflow is driving everything. And continuous innovation is important. Now that focuses us to motivation, what I did in Vandenberg, to link them all together. And that is, let me explain a little my journey. I mentioned already, I started Baan Company in 1978, but with systems of record. We were an early bird in India with a software factory already in 1987. We had an investor, General Atlantic Partners, invested $33 million in Baan Company that propelled us quite strong to go even abroad to the Americas. Now, we were able to win the Boeing deal in 1994, the most precious deal, who propelled us to an IPO. And then we became quite successful and became unicorn. And then even in 1998, Baan had 5,000 employees and maybe 20,000 people working by partners and a lot of offices. Yeah, but it changed. Now, already in 1997, I have given it over the role of CEO to Tom Tinsley, a McKinsey guy, where he works for a while for me, even as my chief operating officer therein. But I give it over because I saw my role much more where the company became more an institute. And I should say, from that moment, the culture in Baan changed. Baan was quite successful in innovation, but Baan moved more from innovation to shareholders driven and to what we say an M&A driven strategy. No. And that means even after 1998, Baan was acquired by Invensys. But I sold already earlier my shares. I quit in beginning of 1998, even as chairman. Then in 1999, I sold all my shares and invested more in what I called the new wave of real systems of differentiation. And this, I should say, the M&A with Invensys was not that successful, and even General Atlantic was again involved and instrumental, and was involved with Infor to acquire again their Baan company and bring it as part of Infor. And I should say Infor was by far more successful. Say, use the legacy of Baan and even bring it today as a leader in the ERP world. Good to see that all my investments in the intellectual property of Baan have still a role in Invensys. And with the acquisition of Infor, it's quite nice to see it that still a leading ERP player. But I used part of my money. I invested $100 million in two smart startup companies. One was WebEx and one was Top-Tier. And here we learned the elements of cloud. And from this one, it was first my idea in the beginning of 1999 to link them to Baan company in the slipstream of Baan company, but what I should say, sustainable in a real, what we say, this innovation became a little more not so easy. No. And that was the reason that I quit totally and start the Chorus company as an enterprise cloud platform. With help of these investments, we built the Chorus company, and then later on, even we learned a lot here, and we built even on top of the Chorus company, the Chorus Process Factory for low-code solutions. Quite early, no. My board those days were not so even real happy with our investments in Chorus Process because Chorus was still underwater, and it was real disruptive innovation. And that motivated me in 2000. They were more willing to say, let's stop this one, it's maybe too early. And it motivated me in 2009 to take this initiative private, and I bought it back out of Chorus private in my Vandenberg software company. And it was the beginning of Vandenberg software, where we moved in the third wave. And after a couple of years, you have seen, although I was still a shareholder, a minority shareholder, but even OpenText acquired my Chorus company. And I focused on system of innovation. 2 times I burned my ships and focused on real disruptive innovation. What we see here in disruptive innovation, we did it already in building the Unix ERP solution, even in Chorus with end-to-end business processes. But disruptive innovation is still always a problem to go to the new wave. Vandenberg's application accelerator with microservices on task-oriented as one version of the truth. But realize we built here in for the third wave. I took over the process factory, not the IP part, only the people, and I started in the new internet wave again with the newest internet technology, with Kubernetes, big data, etc. And we built there what we call today the Rapid Composer. Realize that we spent 20 years from 2005 till now in the Rapid Composer. We rebuilt it a few times, but my people were already in Baan, who even joined me later on in Chorus and joined me later on in Vandenberg, had more than 20 years of experience what we spent in the Rapid Composer. And then we moved to the Rapid Developer, where we start in productizing a lot of components from 2014. And I mean, another 10 years here. And what we do here is we say crossing a chasm, but also avoiding a vendor lock-in situation. What's the problem? On the one hand, crossing a chasm, we did it again, and we started for the third time. I start again, but then with all my experience from the past, and again crossing a chasm. But I learned from the famous Professor Clayton Christensen. He was a famous Harvard professor, the late Clayton Christensen, and he invented the innovator's dilemma. And what he called in this innovator's solution, and how to deal with what we call real disruptive innovation. And he came with this, real methodology. Decentralization is disruptive, is hard to catch because you're doing your development, and yeah, in the beginning you have your minimum viable product, but very early on to a certain moment you perform the customer out. That means you do more than the customer can expect. Means in 1995, when I was able to build the Boeing deal, but in 1998, maybe 5% of the band customers are using maybe only less than 50% of the functionality. That means very soon you outrace even the performance the customer needs. Now, and then you continue with your innovation, and when what you're doing, maybe you reduce your what we call sustainable innovation and do it with less people, and you go to a real in the way of what we call then efficiency innovation. And with efficiency innovation, you maybe halve the people, you reduce your costs, and you're milking your cow. Increase your cash flow and eliminate jobs. That is the core you do. With your eliminate jobs in your core development, guessing and increasing your cash flow. And it means going from here is very difficult. That is what I learned in Baan. This is what we did in Baan. Later on, you increase your R&D and you go high EBITDA, high multiples, and it makes a big market cap therein. And it is mission impossible what he mentioned, and I expected it also. I did my same and I learned that, although I did try to do it myself in the beginning. Do disruptive innovation, and if you do disruptive innovation, you go more to what we called in a low-end disruption in a non-consumer market, because here your sustaining strategy bring a better product into an established market, and it's more than enough than the customer needing. And here you bring new technology with low-end disruption and address service for low cost in a new business model. That means you are different performance therein and other dimension, and you have a non-consumer market, and you're by far below with new technology, below of the functionality of your legacy customers. That's the problem. It means in my Baan solutions, I could not replace them with Chorus because the functionality in ERP was too complicated with the old technology to replace it with BPM. And the same I've seen with OpenText. When I moved to the Process Factory, I did the same for the third time. And it means it's new market disruption is compete against non-consumption therein. Now, let me explain that from automotive, what he mentioned, Clayton Christensen. So when Ford Motor Company moved from everything is possible when it is black, they decided to have more incumbent dominate sustainable battles. It means make your product more richer and have higher cost and make your margins higher, etc. And do sustainable innovation more or less in the same product, and do sustainable innovations, and you focus on management and you create your net growth. Now, and doing this one. And the same you've seen with DEC. DEC built their, say, mini computers. They're making 45% from mini computers, and they make their big systems performing. And then the system of 250K became a system of 500K, but here you're making 60% margins, and it's more than enough for the functionality. In automotive, you've seen the same. A disruptive innovator came. Then here we see then what we see, Toyota was coming with a totally new car, disruptive innovation, but Ford was not afraid because it was the underline of the market. But over time, they replaced with the Toyota's elements this market herein. And then you see that you fall off the cliff. The same you've seen by DEC. DEC was not serious with the Mini, the microcomputer, there in the PC. And to a certain point, DEC was focusing on this one and they fell off the cliff. And you saw new technology came up, but not in the existing company, not in DEC, but in new stuff that in Apple came up, etc. It means disruptive innovation. You create new jobs. You need capital, and from an investment standpoint, you never agree focusing on this one because you're making more money here. I mean, that's the problem. Are you investing in this one? No, why should you do it? Here you make much more money. Now, even if you go to a new wave, but yeah, still your ROI takes 5 years and is disrupting, etc. You're not doing it. That means it is hard to have money and do it in your same company. That's the reason. Burn your ships and do it again. That's the message from Clayton Christensen. Do it again, etc. And typical element. Even what Clayton Christensen mentioned, the right product architecture depends on the base of competition. And he mentioned it's real complicated in ERP with learning. The architectural elements are based on Microsoft Windows, on legacy ERP, and then you see the standardization therein. It's very complicated. I fixed that already a lot with dynamic enterprise modeling and our tools that I mentioned, and we were in Unix, but realize all those players were in proprietary elements. And even Clayton Christensen is saying that means realize that you need a model architecture, and he's a little afraid in Microsoft herein, and say if you look to Google and Linux and you see a totally new architectural elements who allows you to productize all those learning elements, etc. It's not only IP, intellectual property with your logic is a small element. It's at the end, it's not the functionality of the product, it's more the adoption of learning. And that is where we are focusing. Simplified, killing complexity is the most important element. And by the way, I learned a lot from this respected professor. Very sad that he died so early, but a very respected guy, Clayton Christensen there. Yeah. Then I adopted also Gartner's methodology, what we call the PACE layer strategy. And then we see also 3 layers. The common layer with system of record, that's what we did in Baan. And Gartner is saying, yeah, even today we see 70% of all the applications are built in system of records, but it should be even should be used to 10%, and 90% should be done in another way. Then we moved to system of differentiation. It was quite complicated with better ideas. Here what you do is end-to-end processes. And yeah, here is bring everything in an end-to-end process and integrate the system of records. That's what we did with Cordis, but it was even complicated. Gartner saying even only 20% is today even used with this systems of differentiation. Should be at least 40%. Now I quit. I've been from here, I moved here, and I burned again my ships. And I moved to a new idea, game changing. And only with disruptive innovation, I could do it 3 times. Kill this, let it stay, but important is to integrate this layer. And here in systems of innovation, where Gartner expected at least very soon 50% of all those applications should be in microservices. Yeah. But they should be integrated with the traditional obsolete solutions therein. Where, how can I explain that a little? In Baan, we are focused on data, Unix solutions, state-of-the-art, a real number 2 in the market, number 1 maybe from a functionality standpoint, but it was built before the internet. I quit. And instead of we have here a relational database, here we go to metadata, bring all those stuff not in one database, but have many databases, link them together, and go to end-to-end solutions in not the silo, but bring all those silos in an end-to-end solution and take care that everything is on the internet. That means in the BPM layer, everything is internet-based in the browser. Now, that was the beginning of the century. Burned again my ships because we saw the REST API. You see where internet is built with REST API. Here we built everything ourselves and we can do so much more. And we see that here we have our microservices, etc. And they're built too many. And we have big data. Here today, 90% are still in relational databases. Here in big data, you have control to all the data and see all these algorithms, and then information is even providing knowledge therein. Now, then again, I quit this. That's what we do with Rapid, etc., because it was the beginning of the internet with big data. But here we moved to tools like Kubernetes, etc., and here you see the containerization to do it in small components, not in 110 times 10,000 database tables, but take a small part, link them together, connect them together, and even see it like a bill of material, like Lego, and link them together. Now that we can do it 100 times simpler, building microservices very fast, and then with our machine learning, we see the intelligence. It means AI is the core element built in this stuff, etc. But then we see another element, what we call with microservices, two elements is what we call our rapid developer for complex applications, but we see now our rapid composer building our dynamic workflow. And we can change in 1 second before the transaction. We can take every, say, IoT component, everything on the dynamic workflow, on the mobility, all those sensors can be integrated 1 second before the transaction. And we are making dynamic workflow, providing the knowledge worker for what Clayton Christensen mentioned, the job to be done. The job to be done is not driven by the artificial intelligence. It's not the sensor drive it, but it's still even common sense, it's still the wisdom, it's still the knowledge worker. That means on the end, the knowledge worker should adopt all these algorithms, even as a generic AI, etc. All this AI should be adopted by the knowledge worker to improve the productivity of the workflow. That's what we're bringing now. Two amazing products on top of all these backend solutions and link them together with Rapid, generating the apps and make it 4 times more productive, and the composer. Yeah. What was the problem? The biggest change, in my opinion, was when we went to Nasdaq Stock Exchange in 1995. Also, we had one competitor, Netscape, and we were number 2 on Nasdaq that year, but Netscape was number 1 with the highest market cap from a startup. We were a unicorn, but they were a real multi-billion immediately already. Netscape was famous because Netscape was able to link all the data with the human, with the social part. And that was the beginning of social. But unfortunately, Bill Gates killed Netscape. He was not willing to support it. And there, Netscape became part of Anywhere, American Online, etc., and adopted by other ones. And again, but this new initiative, the money was invested again, maybe in Google, in Apple, in Samsung, etc. And here we see this initiative makes the real the mobility, move from to social to the Amazon effect to Salesforce in a cloud, bring everything therein, cloud as a service, Salesforce, to big data, to productize what Google did, the AI stuff therein with machine learning, etc., and even make the Internet of Things adoptable in everything therein. But ERP was extremely obsolete, no innovation. ERP did not adopt all this stuff. We are only struggling from 1995, although we are not aware of it, with the Y2K problem. And before the end of beginning of the century, we just fixed it in India with 100, maybe with 1 million of people, and we were able to update this obsolete stuff with Y2K solutions. But then we've seen no upgrade appears and adopted this stuff. And the last 20 years, nothing happens herein. Still now what we see maybe with Infor bringing now their solutions on the cloud, we bring some things new. But again, there is a big gap. Now, I spent all my time after BAN, 24 years in what we call Internet of Business. Here we have Internet of Things. We say Internet of Business, bring everything as BPM, business process, business process management lifecycle, and design, model, execute, optimize, etc. And do everything in your browser and do it herein. Now, and in the meantime now, and that's what we built our products therein. And with our products, now with Google, we productize them and everything in with productized with everything what we see in Google stuff, etc. With microservice, APIs, big data, cloud native, adaptable machine learning, dev security, ops, real coding is now generated and no vendor lock-in, leading with Google, etc. Now, this allows us to adopt the newer versions of the new leaders with Oracle, SAP, Infor, and link them and all the Microsoft and bring them together and connect them here in. And that's what we see. We built what we called a customer core system in the Vandenberg way. That means we are now able to do SaaS solution with 100% fit for requirements, future-proof with all this big data, no vendor lock-in. We can reduce the cost of the license of traditional players, but adopt them and bring them further. We're saving license costs and bring them in. And we even focus on the happy employees for the workflow, lower the employee to low turnover because people like it to stay therein, but even increase the productivity, increase operation efficiency with key processes and inside intelligence. Now, cloud, we are talking over cloud. Cloud is not so easy. I spent already from 1998 all my knowledge in the cloud. And we focused immediately, we say, okay, we need everything in the browser and everything was cloud. We were absolutely an early bird in cloud. But we see now the bigger players, it means we have not do it ourselves, others commoditize this one. And we see all those steps therein in the cloud are all united in this DevOps roadmap. And it gives us a tremendous opportunity from outside. We have not to deal with this one. And we see big players, and that's what we can do together with Google, where we're focusing on app development, data analytics, and cloud, and even adopt this one. And that's what we're doing herein. I can continue, bring everything here in, and I have to bother what I have to do herein. That reduced tremendous my development cost. I'm only focusing on what we call the business for the workflow. Instead of in Baan, we have to do everything herein. Now, that means in Rapid, what we did herein, having our productivity suite on Google and be very open. Now, why Google? Trusted cloud, openness, speed, innovation. For me, Google is the most innovative company in this cloud, more innovative than, in my opinion, than even what we see Amazon and Microsoft. And we spent more than 10 years, very deep experience with Google. And even we are for many respected partner. Hendrik Jan Hunning mentioned there on last partner element, they say we did more than 200 legacy applications already in Google Cloud. And they mentioned therein they celebrate the Vandenberg team and thanks for the success therein. And it's our success team by Google. Now, what are we then addressing? Market trends are today still developer shortage. With Java programmers, you cannot find them. Faster time to market is needing. No code, low code platforms, they bring a lot, but how to emerge them and how to do the last mile. Cloud native application development, that means everything what we do is not the traditional way on system of transactional systems. No, we have to be cloud native with all the elements therein. And with big data, AI needs, etc. Custom pain points, even today, unclear requirements, no aligning between IT and business. And even the guys from Google do not understand ERP and how to deal with this one. And the in-depth business users have no clue how to deal with IT. Missing timelines, etc. No code, no low-code platforms come with limitations because the last mile is difficult to do this one. I will come there in a minute. Performance, how to deal with 80,000 users, what we do with a company like if you see they're in dealing with all those processes together, with events, with Infor, and doing all this stuff therein. And then what we see there in automotive companies, etc. Now, how to empower my developers. Now, let's go there. What is Rapid solving? We increase at least 4 times the productivity of real traditional Java developers. It means they are needed and we increase them, we productize them. We are able to scale in supply chain, and even we can do it in attractive hour rate because most of our developers are in India. We pay them very high, but still in rupees, and we charge our customers in dollars and euros, and there is no vendor lock-in. Now, I mentioned already what we see with low code, no code, etc. What is the functionality of the competition? What we see? Amazing technology with Power Apps from Microsoft and AppSheet from Google, Betty Block to do something for the citizen. And with building straightforward drag and drop stuff, but it's a little, what I should say, spreadsheet plus. You're not dealing with the data. You're dealing only with the workflow for the citizen. And that is where we improve tremendous with our Rapid Composer, our 25 years of experience from low code already. Last century, that's where we have a differentiator and something to add here. Then we see the citizen developers. They go with and effective what we see with low code. Successful players, especially the leaders, Mendix and OutSystems, nice companies, but already a little obsolete technology. They built it from the beginning of the century, or like you see, Process Maker and Run My Process. But so far, the limitations only can do simple apps. And then we see that even if we go to really pro developer or really medium and complex, then we see still the Java programmer is doing this one. Now, this is what we do. We can create 80% with our accelerating advanced apps with Rapid Developer, and the last mile can be done by the Java programmer. Like maybe autonomous cars, we expected autonomous cars to do everything, but still today they have a steering wheel, and the last mile is difficult, and they're still in the Tesla, etc., the steering wheel. We do the same. The car is driving better than what you do yourself. If you're sitting in your Tesla car and an autopilot is driving, it's maybe more advanced and you can relax a little, but on the right moment, you take the steering wheel and do it together. We do the same. We generate in a better way and you can sit and can adopt it, but on the right moment, the Java programmer has the steering wheel and is doing the last mile and make the optimization for the EBITDA. That's the real element to do this one. Now, that is combining speed and low code means speed of development. We see the benefit of low code, but only maybe for a proof of concept. Very fast, we can do it, but then when the complexity comes in, we fall down. And when it's real complicated, we can't do it. And then we still go to the traditional development. Now, with our Rapid tool set, we can even do immediately already very advanced products and have a high productivity, or even what we see with our Composer, we can say do the workflow much faster here than the low code can do it, more effective, and this very winning in Java elements therein. And instead of this one, we do this and have a big benefit. Now, why are we different? Now we see the costs are real going out. You see costs are increasing. In the beginning is attractive with this low code, but you have a vendor lock-in on a runtime with your Appian, with OutSystems, with your Mendix, and the more users you have, the more you have to pay. In this one therein. And with your license cost, and on the moment you start the development now, over 5 years, still you have the same product and you have maybe more functionality to allow it, but it is already obsolete. Your value is going down and your cost tremendous increase because you have more users. We do the opposite way. Means Rapid, we only pay you for the development. We build new function and we can go evergreen and again. And the new function immediately with our tools have an ROI. What you cost is immediately you have your ROI already from your product development, very quick ROI, and we continue therein. Continue our development and continue our new, it's no obsolete stuff and an evergreen product continuously and have a big win therein. Now, even what we built in the last years, with our experience in Google, a lot of accelerations, a landing zone, what we built with Vallejo, a big global enterprise for all cybersecurity elements, what we now productized in. That means there we have our compliance focus on a landing zone where we can scale 10 times faster, enabling lift and shift and review and validate by Accenture, what we did by Solvay, and they see there's a big element. Now, in a couple of weeks, we do totally cybersecurity elements. The same with data engineering accelerators, where we built a data warehouse solution, set up a workflow, and use that on top of ERP solutions and no vendor lock-in. And the same with what we did with machine learning stuff with all the last 10 years, where we did a lot of machine learning experience. We built our workshop, E2E, Vertex tools with the productization of cool, specialize them, and we can start immediately with a pilot in a couple of weeks and doing this stuff therein. Now, closing in it, What is real our contribution? We are helping our partners to grow. And we, Varenburg, we believe that companies can outperform their peers with modernizing the enterprise software solutions. And we are the expert in manufacturing, supply chain, logistics, retail, wholesale. That means even our products can be used in healthcare, but not by us. Partners can do it. We see our partners therein, and we can help our partners with our products, the skills what we build. And we have our data analytics and working on real what we called reducing the stuff on the real the EBITDA. Okay, now I hope that gives you a little insight. I have another presentation to explain what we in Varenburg do real to contribute to the EBITDA to increase the productivity of your knowledge workers. Thank you very much, and let's stop sharing there.